Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, June 26th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the next few days, we will have wind increasing across the Great Basin, namely affecting the southern half of the area from western Nevada across southern Nevada into Utah on Wednesday. And on Thursday, the gusty winds will shift a little bit further east and mainly impact southern and eastern Nevada into Utah. Wind gusts will exceed 35 or 40 miles per hour at times, with relative humidity in the single digits to low teens. However, we do have a low-pressure system that will be dropping down from the north later this week, and it will bring cooler weather to the Great Basin, dropping some temperatures to near normal, and some areas of Idaho and northern Utah to below normal temperatures for a couple of days, with the wetter weather generally confined to Idaho and Wyoming. Over the last 24 hours, we've only seen some light showers over the central Idaho mountains, with a few lightning strikes, with most of the lightning further north into Montana. Great Basin fire activity yesterday was light initial attack across the area with only a few new fires reported. Over the last 7 days, the only precipitation we've seen has really been across Idaho and Wyoming, with a few lighter showers into far northern Nevada and northern Utah. Even over the last 2 weeks, we've seen this similar pattern with showers affecting the north, and a few showers into western Nevada a couple weeks ago, and then we've seen very dry conditions over the southern half of the Great Basin for over 2 weeks. How this has affected our current fuel conditions. Like I said, we did have some wet weather about a week ago with some cooler temperatures, but since then we've had hot and dry conditions across most of the Great Basin, so ERCs have increased and have rebounded to above the 90th or 97th percentile once again across much of eastern and southern Utah, and even above the 80th to 85th percentile over southern and eastern Nevada. ERCs across southern Idaho into northern and western Nevada have been on the rise and are close to the 70th percentile in some areas. Also, a point of note looking at the charts on the right is ERCs across Idaho and across western Nevada are near or just above normal, but also very similar to the ERCs where we saw them this time last year. Looking over southeast Utah, where the ERCs are above the 97th percentile, this is near record highs for the time of year. Looking at live fuel moisture, we did see the sagebrush live fuel moisture peak across Idaho and Nevada and has been on the downward trend and is generally near normal across Idaho and northern Nevada, but is still below normal over far southwest Idaho and slightly above normal over western Nevada. Further south, we have seen much lower fuel moistures with the very dry weather and warm weather we've had in place for a longer period of time. Therefore, our live fuel moistures across southern and eastern Utah have been well below normal to near record lows. The satellite loop from this morning shows a ridge of high pressure still dominating the southern half of the Great Basin with above normal temperatures, sunny skies, and very dry conditions. We may see a few buildups today over eastern Utah, but really dry weather across the Great Basin. Still some breezy winds across Idaho with near normal temperatures, but we will see those temperatures increase or remain above normal here for the next couple of days before we see a brief period of cooler weather. Again, looking at the weather pattern for today, warm and dry conditions across the Great Basin with low to moderate fire potential, especially over the southern half of the area. Relative humidity today will be in the single digits across much of Utah and Nevada and the Arizona Strip, and in the teens over much of Idaho. Winds will be moderate across the Great Basin today, with wind gusts in the 20 to 25 mile per hour range in many areas, with slightly enhanced winds, however, higher humidity over eastern Idaho into Wyoming. By Wednesday, we see that trough of low pressure start to dig south along the west coast. This will allow winds to increase a little bit, especially across western Nevada and Idaho, and to some extent the southern areas of the Great Basin, with still very dry weather in place. We do have high risk for these winds across western Nevada into southern Nevada, the Arizona Strip, and Utah for Wednesday, with gusts generally between 30 and 35 miles per hour. We could see some local gusts to 40 miles per hour. Single-digit relative humidity will remain in place, therefore very dry daytime conditions and somewhat poor overnight recoveries. You can see the wind gusts in the map on the right. The strongest gusts will likely be along the Sierra front, where we'll see those gusts between 35 and 40 miles per hour at times, and general wind gusts between 30 and 35 miles per hour over the rest of southern areas of the Great Basin. As we move into Thursday, that trough moves a little bit further eastward, so we have a better potential for showers and thunderstorms across central Idaho into Wyoming, along with higher humidity and cooler temperatures. Temperatures will also start to drop over parts of northern Nevada and Utah, but will be closer to normal. Dry conditions remain with breezy winds over southern areas of the Great Basin, so we've continued that high risk in areas where our fuels are most critical and where we will see those stronger wind gusts. You can see the relative humidity on Thursday starts to increase across Idaho into northern Nevada, but still remains into the single digits, over the southern and eastern half of Nevada into Utah. And again, that's where the stronger winds will be on Thursday. We'll likely see stronger winds on Thursday across Utah, the Arizona Strip, and southern Nevada than we will see on Wednesday, with gusts above 40 or 45 miles per hour at times. The overall forecast amount of precip, generally light amounts of precipitation in the central Idaho mountains and really dry elsewhere across the Great Basin. As we go into Friday, that trough of low pressure swings a little bit further eastward over northern and eastern areas of the basin, with showers and thunderstorms again over parts of eastern Idaho into Wyoming, possibly far northeast Utah. We will still have some gusty winds and dry conditions over southern Utah and the Arizona Strip, so we have continued that high risk for Friday for those conditions where the fuels are most critical. As we move into Saturday, you can see a stronger ridge of high pressure building off the west coast, and that trough of low pressure swings well to the east, so we will see warmer and drier conditions returning after a couple days of temperatures dropping to near to slightly below normal on Thursday and Friday. On Saturday, those temperatures will start to increase over western areas again. Low to moderate fire potential continues, and you can see how the fuels continue to dry over western and northern Nevada. As we move into Sunday, warm and dry conditions still continue. Very little change in our fire potential, with generally moderate fire potential down south. And then on Monday, we will see a little bit more upper level moisture starts to move in to parts of the Great Basin. We may start to see a little bit more cloud cover. However, we will see a return of thunderstorms, especially as we move into Tuesday and Wednesday across the Great Basin. Therefore, until then, we will continue to dry out. Fuel moistures will rapidly decrease, so we will be watching this return of lightning as we get towards the early to mid portion of next week. Overall forecast amount of precipitation for the next 7 days, really not much and confined to far northern areas of the Great Basin. The 8 to 14 day outlook, which takes us in through the first week of July, shows above normal temperatures for much of the southern and eastern half of the basin and near normal temperatures up north. We will also see drier conditions return to the northern and western side of the Great Basin as that monsoon moisture starts to develop toward the end of the first week in July, and we start to see that return of thunderstorms and higher humidity push through the southwest into Utah and Colorado. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.